so many conditions that we might talk about, doesn't, for the most part, most of them go back to nutrition and lifestyle? And how do you turn the tide so that people start thinking that way instead of, like you said earlier, the quick fix and let's get it done now?
Right, how do we develop different reflexes?
Yeah.
Part of where I begin with many people is to ask them, what would it look like if you were fully healthy? If you had all the time, all the money, all the energy, all the resources you wanted, what would you be doing? What would you be focused on? And often people look kind of funny because they're used to going to a doctor and you sit down and you give your litany of what's wrong.
Yeah.
But if you get rid of symptoms, what's left? Nothing, right?
Yeah.
If you eliminate a symptom, there's nothing left. So it's a fundamentally different thing, a different paradigm to look forward and say, what would health look like for me, not for anybody else? And everybody has a completely different definition. If they know where they're going, then all of the suggestions I might give them are actually steps that direct them toward what's important to them. I make no assumptions about what's important for someone else. Once they have the sense of where they're going, then instead of being a jumble of stuff to do, those are stepping stones that direct them towards what's most important. So identifying why someone is doing these healthy behaviors. If someone is mainly running away from symptoms, running away from a disease, usually as soon as they get a certain distance away, they say, woohoo, now I can go back to whatever I was doing. So we end up in a rocking chair. Like we take a lot of action, our blood pressure comes down, our cholesterol's looking better. Well, I can eat some of that. I don't need to go to the health club anymore. And then pretty soon the numbers are scary again, and whoa, we take action again. So we rock back and forth and back and forth. But if I know I'm doing that, because I have one patient who wanted to run 2 Ironman competitions a year, that was his picture of health. Another person, she wanted to get home from work and go bicycle riding with her grandkids and paint in her studio. Well, if I know those are the things that I want to do, then I make different choices. And also, if I veer one day, that's all right, I get back on track. And the rocking chair, as soon as you have one sin, you're back on the sofa watching TV and eating ice cream sundaes.
You know, along the same lines, if people try to be committed to a healthy lifestyle, are there a lot of things out there that people might not realize that are making us sick in terms of maybe what we eat, what we're breathing, things like that?
Definitely. We're in a really toxic soup right now. We live in a very toxic soup. And there's some patients I work with cancer who have had fabulously healthy lifestyles and feel very guilty. But they may have been downwinded from agricultural chemicals as they were growing up. They may have lived near chemical plants. They may have lived near a nuclear power plant and had radiation exposure. There are all kinds of different ways that we're exposed. Plus the quality of our food. If you look at most farms in the Midwest, you actually step down a foot into the field, from the edge of the field into the farmer's fields. And it takes a prairie about 1,000 years to generate 1 inch of soil. So we've borrowed about 12,000 years of soil. And that means 12,000 years of nutrients have also gone downstream or blown away into the ocean. So the quality of our food is nothing like it was even 200 years ago. So the more restorative agricultural practices, organic practices, is beginning to help turn that tide. Also, the choosing foods as close as possible to organic food. The truth is, it's almost impossible to have really purely organic food because of the pesticide drifts and the soil contaminations. Unfortunately, most of us need to filter our water using, I encourage people to use a good solid carbon filter to be able to filter the water. So and then also not using chemicals in our cleaning, like using vinegar and water and baking soda, essential oils, things like that, to do our cleaning instead of really toxic chemicals. The palms of our hands and the soles of our feet are the 2 most absorptive skin surfaces in the body. So when we're cleaning, when we're pumping gas, when we're spraying chemicals on the garden, we're being dosed as well through our hands. So ideally, we maybe have a little bit weedier lawn.
Yeah.
Maybe our clothes wouldn't be quite so bright white from bleach. Chlorine is one of the most potent carcinogens known. The most potent carcinogen known as dioxin, which is what we use to bleach paper products white. So choosing to use unbleached paper products, that's one way we can immediately affect our health, but also everyone downstream from a paper plant. So making day by day small choices add up to a big change, not only to our own individual health, but also the health of other humans and the planet as well.